Hello, today we're going to be looking at the Viewliner 2 cars that were made by Golden Gate Depot. These cars were made in 2021, built to order out of a division of Sunset Models from China. These are the only O-scale models of Viewliner cars, and they're in rather short supply. These are full scale, they're 21 inches long, so they are true O-scale replicas of the actual model. Uh, in real life, the cars were made in beginning in 2015, and the last ones were delivered in 2021, over the span of about 6 years. The models were produced in 2021 and have arrived here about 1 month ago while I was on vacation, but this is my first look at the cars. But the first thing to note, these are in Phase 3. These are in the reprised version of Phase 3, which feature the new Amtrak logo as the cars were delivered. This is part of Joseph Boardman's initiative to return to Phase 3, which ultimately did not happen, but however, the cars do remain in this paint scheme and look rather nice. Alternatively, if you wanted to get these cars in Phase 6, you were able to do so, but the cars never were this scheme in real life. Coming back to the vestibule ends of the car, we see the rubber diaphragms that frame the door, as well as the marker lamps. Of note, the marker lamps only have an on-off switch which controls both ends of the cars. There's no way to turn one end of the cars off unless you do some surgery work on the cars, which I personally don't want to do right now. So if these bring up the end of the train, both of the marker lights will be on. I know the manufacturer of the car spent a long time getting the decals and the paint just right on these cars, and consulted with the brand manager of Amtrak to make sure the color was correct, the font was correct, and the placement of the striping was all true to scale. Here we have the Amtrak America branding, which features the travel mark logo, along with the long distance service Amtrak America branding. Inside the car, there's no detail whatsoever, and we can see some of the wiring that's used to light the interior as well as the marker lights. Unfortunately, there's no luggage racks or a floorboard to cover up those wires, and the doors do not open. Up top, we see some of the fluting. It gives us more of a streamlined look, as well as the exhaust ventilation fans that are atop of the car. The trucks look like as they would on Viewliner cars. I think they're the same ones as the Superliner cars. They'll use the same style GSI bearing trucks, which are much different from the Amfleet cars. You can see that the diaphragm extends pretty close to the edge of the coupler, giving the coupling rather close coupling with the diaphragms almost touching. So that is the baggage car. I'll pull forward the sleeper car. We'll go on the other side of this. Sleepers are very nice. Of note, this is the last Viewliner car that was produced by Amtrak and was delivered actually before I received the model, or just before I received the model in, I think, in July of 2021. The prototype was delivered and I received my cars in uh, late August of 2021. So, in real life, the model was produced a little bit after or a little bit before the real life prototype was constructed. Here we can see the rubber diaphragm extends a little bit more than the baggage car, and you can see how close they do couple. There's no gap whatsoever, and that's very different from the MTH cars, which have about a half-inch gap. Of course, that means the cars require a little bit wider curves, which isn't a problem for me, but if you have Premier Amfleets, they're going to swing out a little bit more than they do. I believe the minimum curve is 0.54 as the which is a little bit wider than the Premier Amfleets, which would run at 0.42. Inside the car, we have 10 figures. They're scattered about the car. The car is in nighttime mode, so it does have a bed on the upper berth. I'm not sure if the people are really small or if the interiors are big, but the roomettes are definitely not that big where you wouldn't hit your head on top of the upper bunk. And you definitely wouldn't have room to sit any more than directly across from each other, which you can see their legs are not touching. Which, if you ever have ridden in a roomette, you know there's pretty much no room inside there whatsoever. And the bedroom looks like you can fit about 5 people inside, which definitely would not happen either. You can see that the seating and the beds are purple. I think the real ones are orange. But it certainly doesn't bother me. The interior walls are yellow, and they are in real life, which is correct. The vestibule area doesn't really have any detail inside there. But in the real ones, you might find a handbrake and some of the door controls, as well as the push button to enter the car, which is not modeled in here. We do have a little bit of the brake indicator lights. They're not lit, but the detail is there. The car number for the position in the train is there. There's no number that's being represented by this train, but it is there. That's part of the detail, and you can see some of the bolts that would hold that into the car. The precision of the striping in the decal is pretty fine. You can't see any pixelation or anything, and it seems to be well painted onto the car. There's a little handicap logo there. Moving on to the zoom out there, we can look at the name of the car. This one's the Westfield River. It was the last Viewliner car, hence the W. That's, I guess, the river that comes in the last end of the alphabetical order of the rivers near Amtrak routes, maybe? I'm not sure which, how they determine on rivers to choose and include. I'm going to turn those relays off, which that should do it. But the only one in Pennsylvania was the Susquehanna River, and I did not get that car. But if you're from Pittsburgh, you'd know that there'd be the Allegheny River, Monongahela, the Ohio River's included, but those cars are not represented by the Viewliner cars. And second car in the set is the Tiffin River, which is pretty nice. So, now if you're wondering, yes, the cars are not symmetrical. We're looking at different sides of the car. On this side, we're looking at the walkway, and the bedrooms would be on the other side. So we have what I believe is 3 bedroom compartments in each Viewliner car. So here are the 3 here. You can look inside, but on the other side you can see the walkway for you to pass through the car. The vents are nicely decaled. The windows are all flush fitting. I believe the windows inside the roomettes are also tinted just slightly, which is a rather nice effect. The fluting is all done well, and there's also that red reflective stripe at the bottom. So at this point, I will show you how the train sort of looks together. I have my my Heritage Phase 3 P42, number 145. And you can sort of see how the stripes match out. All the colors match very well. And we can see coupling is indeed very close. So at the end of this, I have a scale Amtrak Amfleet Cafe. This is an Amfleet I car. This is not made by Golden Gate. They have made Amfleet I coaches, but seeing that I have so many of them, I was kind of curious if these would suffice. They look fine, but you can tell that they're noticeably shorter than the Viewliner cars, which would be true scale. And the Amfleet cars that were produced by Golden Gate Depot, I'm sure are a lot nicer. I'm sure that they're a lot nicer, and I would assume they're about 3 inches longer as well. But of note, probably the biggest thing as far as detail-wise that wouldn't be on the cars is there's no flush-fitting windows on the Premier cars. There are on the Golden Gate ones. But in terms of the metallic finish, I think they're pretty close. But I definitely plan on running those cars with the Amfleet cars. And I'll probably run the baggage with the Superliner cars too, even though the Superliner cars are in Phase 4. And the Viewliner 2 baggage cars would probably run with Phase 6 Superliner cars. I kind of like Phase 4 a little bit better, just because they have the Superliner branding on them. And I would say you'll probably see them run with the Phase 4 Superliner cars as well. Well, I'll do a run by now. I'm going to pause the video and get the train moving. Thank you for watching.